Bitcoin warning as the price corrects after almost touching a new high. Is this abnormal? Is this something we should be worrying about? Or is this all just part of the plan? Got that for you. We're going to break down a few interesting charts here for you. Also, some other altcoin news. We got some Solana news, some base news, some meme coin news. It's going to be a good time. Let's get into it. So, first and foremost, the charts, the Bitcoin warning. Is this something to be afraid of? We've had a correction. Oh no, the price is down a few percent. It's probably the end of all things now. We were talking about this yesterday, day before, whatever. This is nothing to worry about. We came right back down to retest the area of previous resistance, flipped now into support, potentially. Of course, obviously, still have a few days to go before the U.S. elections. We could expect volatility, increased volatility in the markets between now and when that happens and shortly after it happens. So just keep that in mind, okay? Keep that in mind. That being said, if we do have any further downside volatility, this is the area I'd be looking in here, this sort of 66, 67K zone, which lines up with this over here, previous resistance, previous support. That would be an interesting area. Of course, also lines up with the downtrend line as a potential retest zone right here. So everything fine. Nothing to worry about here, guys. All-time highs don't usually get broken so easily. Let's have a look back to previous years, because I think this is very informative on how we can try to look at the current information that we're seeing in the charts. I know markets don't repeat, but there's often a bit of rhyming, right? U.S. political elections, events that have a lot of uncertainty depending on who gets elected and people's opinions on how that's going to affect the market. So let's look back here to the previous election cycle, previous election year, and previous all-time high breaks. So first, the all-time high break. Now, I know technically we had a previous cycle break when we got up to 74K back in March. Now 74K is the all-time high that we need to break through. Okay, so there's that. That was a little bit of an aberration because it came before the Bitcoin halving, first time before Bitcoin halving, but after a bear market that we got a new high price for Bitcoin. Now we're kind of back on track post-Bitcoin halving world. About 6 months after the Bitcoin halving happens, which was back in April, is when we start to see Bitcoin breaking out. Again, we've seen Wall Street buy the equivalent of 2 months of actually more than 2 months of miner supply this week. So newly mined Bitcoin miners would have to mine for 2.5 months about just to meet the demand of Wall Street, what they've bought this week alone. Okay, so just keep in mind, that's what we talk about when we talk about the supply and demand dynamics regarding the Bitcoin halving and why it usually takes a few months for miners to get through their stock and all that sort of stuff before we really start seeing these dynamics start to play out in the market, which is what we're starting to see right now. Okay, so 2020, after we broke over decisively above the highs, we raged higher by about 200%. In just a few months' time. So from December to March, and actually if we want to go up even further, from December to mid-April, we went up 224% from the time that we broke out from the highs, okay? So that's one thing to keep in mind. And when we have this high break, when we get beyond 74K, we probably have 3 to 6 months, maybe we have a slightly longer cycle, maybe we have 3 to 6 months before markets at least reach a first top, and we'll get more on that in a minute. But look here, this is November 30th, 2020. The price of Bitcoin here came, a couple of dollars away from a new high, depending on how you looked at it. Or this is just a few dollars over. It depends on what the exchange you were looking at. It wasn't very decisive. Let's put it that way. Some exchanges registered a new high. Some did not quite register a new high. It was kind of similar situation here on the 25th of November. So what happened in these situations is almost high, sold off, as you can see here. Barely a high, sold off here again. So we saw basically 2 weeks of price volatility coming in here, where that first time we had a 15% drop down. That second touch, we had a 12% drop down over a couple week period. So nothing too crazy coming in here. And then you look back a little bit earlier in the month, and we didn't actually have huge election volatility going into the end of October. We did have a nice, of course, Uptober that month, where we had a Bitcoin running from 10K all the way up to around 15K by the end of the month. So it was a nice Uptober there. But just a couple of days before the election, we didn't have very much volatility, as you can see, except actually a nice little candle to the upside on the 5th of November here. So volatility can work in both directions. That's something to keep in mind, okay? So we have two things that we're working with right now at this particular time in the market. One is the testing of previous all-time highs, which is generally a volatile event that requires a couple of tests to successfully break over. And the other is potential election volatility, okay? Now let's go a little bit further back in time. Let's go back to the 2015, 2016, 2017 cycle. So all-time high price of Bitcoin, about $1,200 back here in December 2013. Now, we didn't actually get a new high break until 2017, so you can actually zoom in here and see the first attempt, and markets were much less liquid back then. The total market cap of Bitcoin was a tiny little baby market cap back then. Okay, this is something of tens of billions versus $1 trillion plus asset class now, okay? So perspective here, all right? Perspective, very important, much more volatile asset class. But we had that attempt to take out the high, basically got up to an almost equal price, massive dump down there afterwards. February 2017, we got up to a new high, massive volatility, huge dump. We got back up again, massive dump before finally taking off and raging from, look at the beautiful TA, that's beautiful. Raging from about $1,200 all the way up to $20,000 by the end of the year. So a further 10x gains on Bitcoin from this breakout beyond, okay? And we have diminishing returns between cycles, so you can't expect a 10x return from the time we break over 74K, but a 2x return, right? Might not be too bad. 3x return, something like that. Now, we zoom in a bit here. This is the election time in 2016. So what do we have here? Again, leading up to the election, we have a price pump going into it and a bit of a dump there right around the election. So again, you can see enhanced price volatility right around the time of the election. Nothing too dramatic, right? And this was the end of the world, right? The same kind of media stuff back then. All Trump's going to be this dictator and take over the world and blah, blah, blah. And nothing really matters in the end of the day. You know, elections happen, their markets react and reposition themselves based on however market participants think, and then everything just kind of keeps going on. So what I want to highlight here, the last two election cycles, 2020, 2016, there was a bit of volatility around the election dates, okay? None of it really mattered. It was all just short-term noise. And the price of Bitcoin then began a mega rally in the following weeks to months that sent the price of Bitcoin raging up to new all-time highs, often hundreds of % higher. Okay? So there you go. That's what you need to know. CryptoCon here sharing the Chaikin money flow bull runs. Okay, I dig it. It says throw a dart and it's almost guaranteed to land on a chart that tells you the true Bitcoin bull run is imminent. What does true bull run even mean? Haven't we been in one since November 2022? I like that. It's true. Market bottoms are always the start of the new bull market, just like the market top is really the start of the new bear market. Although you don't want to accept it at the time, it's basically when the price starts going down only. Yeah, anyway, the true bull run is this. New all-time highs, price discovery, illogical gains, no sideways periods, altcoin season, a year of straight fantastic price action. That is what is on the brink. It's going to be crazy. Imagine if we just grind up for a year. Bitcoin just grinds from 70K to 215, 250K by November, December next year. Crazy. Anyway, more fantasizing about that later. The weekly Chaikin money flow has bounced from the same support we see before every bull run. Look at this. The first overheat cross is complete. Okay, so we had the first one. First overheat cross came in here, which is the mid-cycle overheat. There are still 2 cycle tops to go. Everyone's forgotten what the fun part of crypto looks like, but they will be reminded soon. Second part here, target number 2, that comes in as the first cycle top. Now that first cycle top, March, April, right? That's a potential target anyway. Second cycle top, November, December, if we get the second cycle top, obviously. Man, just imagine that. We just get some kind of similar 2020 situation. We have a big run-up, giant, fat old crash for the summer, and then end of the year we run it back up for one final hurrah before we enter a new horrific, terrifying bear market. Love it. Anyway, guys, if you're a cryptocurrency trader, check out BitUnix. No KYC crypto trading, $20. in futures bonuses when you click on the link down below. Plus, you can get up to 12 Solana in bonuses depending on your trading volume. Basically, you're getting your fees paid back to you, but in Solana, which is pretty gosh darn cool. So essentially, you can have like almost a fee-free trading experience because you're going to get all your money back in Sol. So that's pretty cool. Go check it out. Link down below in the description. This is a limited time offer. It only goes through to the 4th of November. So click the link, check it out. Go for it. Okay, so Bitcoin ETFs had a lackluster day yesterday, only $32 million. Apparently Fidelity and Bitwise had some pretty big outflows. BlackRock still about $318 million. Had it not been for the big outflows, would have been a pretty brilliant day. Anyway, nothing like the $893 million the day before, but hey, still inflows are inflows. Who am I here sharing last week has been characterized by monster inflows. He said the past 2 times we got similar daily inflows that indicated a local top. Will this time be different? In the presence of a big event, along with how much it has been front run, I tend to believe this will not be different. Could we see a decent correction in the market coming in the not so distant future? Certainly possible. Certainly possible. But at some point, it's not going to be the case. At some point, you're going to see these massive flows come before a major breakout. We break beyond 74K, and then Wall Street just starts chasing, man. They start chasing retail investors who have access to Bitcoin ETFs. They're chasing. They're trying to go after the big money gains, and they're throwing money into Bitcoin at 80K, at 90K, at 100K. And yes, there's going to be people throwing truckloads of money into Bitcoin. We're going to see multi-billion-dollar inflow days when Bitcoin's like 200K. You watch. Because nobody wants to buy it when it's cheap. People don't like buying high and selling low, or at least the vast majority of people do. Hey, speaking of ETFs, Solana ETF, Canary Capital files for a Solana ETF. It's like the 5th or 6th Solana ETF filing. What's going to be funny is when we get hopefully a new administration that approves, and Solana ETF would be if a Solana ETF actually starts seeing massive inflows, totally cucking ETH. That would be hilarious, by the way. Not for my ETH bags, but it would just be hilarious in the market in general. Franklin Templeton launching his tokenized treasury fund on Base, becoming the first asset manager on the Layer 2 network. Fantastic, man. Base just keeps getting all kinds of adoption. Elon Trades here pointing out, so he's got a bag of Moonwell. What's interesting, he's responding to this, which is that Token Terminal pointed out, this is crazy. Moonwell DeFi currently generates more fees on than Aave and Morpho Labs. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Moonwell is the hot spot to be for lending and borrowing, apparently, over on the Base network. I don't have a bag. I do have a bag of Aerodrome Finance. That's my sort of big DeFi play for the Base ecosystem. But, a lot of people have been saying, Lark, go look at Moonwell. Go look at Moonwell. Go look what they're doing. We're paying attention. Let's put it that way. I haven't got a bag yet. May not get a bag. I'm trying to cut my bags down. It's too crazy, man. It's too crazy. Too many coins. I've already been trying to whittle down some bags this week. Anyway. Also, nice to see a lot more things just happening on Base in general. The Base AI landscapes. This is from Base Hub. They pointed out we've got all these new AI agent meme coins that are being developed over there. We have stuff like Rainmaker, which I'm an investor in. Again, portfolio disclosures down below. As always, YouTube description, pin, comment, and X. You see my current portfolio, OTC deals, venture round investments, all that kind of stuff, plus a risk statement. Investing in crypto is risky. You can lose all your money. Don't forget it. Past outcomes do not represent future outcomes. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, you guys know what it is. Don't DYR, don't lose all your money, okay? Important thing. But a lot of stuff happening over on Base. You're seeing a lot more builders choose to deploy on Base because it's the hot spot to be. It is the layer 2 to be on. No, really think about it. Where are you going to go and deploy your coin on? Scroll? Just that you'll just die a heat death over there. Nothing will happen. Nobody cares. Everybody's running away from Scroll right now. And I think a lot of the other big layer 2 competitors are probably going to face a similar fate. Out of all the layer 2 networks, Arbitrum and Optimism have definitely cemented themselves as being great contenders. Base, obviously, and I think probably Linea and ZK Sync would be the other two I'd pay attention to. And I wouldn't buy any of their governance tokens. They're all shit. But in terms of actual user experience and things to do, and people building over there, okay, fine. I got time for all those. Most of the other stuff, though, building, I mean, there's so many layer twos that are going to have absolutely no liquidity, no users, nothing going on, like Scroll. Who's using, I guess somebody's using Starknet somewhere. I don't know. Who cares about Starknet these days? Blast has just lost like $2 billion in total value locked, just crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. Look where the winners are. Look where money stays. Look where money gets sticky. Right? Money's sticky on Arbitrum, money's sticky on Optimism, and I know it goes back and forth a little bit, but they still have massive total value locked. Base, right? Base, the metrics just keep going up because that's where it's the hot spot to be. This is the layer 2 to pay attention to, and there's no token. And if there was a token to be a garbage governance token, we wouldn't want to buy it anyway. But there's lots of great plays in the AI space, DeFi space, meme coin space, things like Brett, which I've got a bag of. A lot of stuff going on there, okay? Okay. I want to finish up with this, and as we're trashing on layer 2 coins, Ivan on Tech here pointing out this is why memes are so popular. VCs need to stop extracting all value in private rounds. Founders need to ensure they make poor people rich in public markets. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. This is how it used to be in 2017. Regular people would get into early sale projects, and of course the SEC ruined everyone's fun by basically saying everything's a security everywhere, and so no one's allowed to do any of this stuff anymore. So most of it's gone to VCs and private investors because that's the safer route for a lot of these guys. Anyway, this is in response to Squiggly Hairshanks here. Now, Squiggly Hairshanks has been pointing out, look at the market caps of some of these things. Starknet launched at 1.4 billion, down 50%. Blast down 50%. ZK Sync, it's only down 35% or something. Scroll down 50%. Yep. Don't buy layer 2 governance tokens, guys. Also, this is crazy. This is somebody nuked millions of Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic in you coin. Ticker Bitcoin. All right, rock and roll. It's crazy to think that this one whale was able to nuke the market cap from $250 million to 110 million in a few minutes' time with just a few multi-million-dollar mega dumps. That's how little liquidity there is for the majority of these crypto coins in the market. It's so susceptible to whale dumping and market manipulation and all this kind of stuff. And that's no shade on the Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic in you community. Okay, you guys have a funny meme coin. It's all good. It's just a thought of warning that the meme coin game remains a heavy player versus player space, much more so than the rest of the crypto market anyway. Guys, newsletter, it's awesome. Seriously, go sign up to the newsletter. You'll freaking love it. Best damn newsletter in the cryptocurrency business. Seriously, 145,000 people a week reading it. Meme coins, altcoins, deep dives, airdrops. So many airdrops. Made over 6 figures in airdrops this year. It's crazy. Go check it out. Link down below. Pin comment on X. Thank you so much. I'll see you back in the next one. Peace.